Hey guys, welcome back. I have a very special guest that you've probably heard and know about. My sister Gabby, you have listened to our relationship stories on Instagram. We do lives, and we just got so much good feedback and so much laughter, and we're sharing the ins and out about dating, the whole dating life. And as soon as I became single about a year and a half ago, she was my guide on how to navigate this whole dating system. And I was so scared and I didn't want to date. And I actually didn't date for 6 months until you got me on you uploaded pictures of us on dating apps so you can try to hook me up with guys. And I was like, well, that's the start, right? So we did that. She told me all about the dating apps and like really encouraged me to go out and date. And so we developed this whole learning journey through relationships. And I became so open and vulnerable about my journey in dating after being with someone for 8 years. And I just thought there's so many learning curves. And Gabby here is a pro now.
Hey
I'm just
guys.
kidding. We're all learning. So me and Gabby do this relationship series. I upload some of our episodes and I bring on some guests. We do lives and it's so much fun. And we have the best time with our quote unquote fans, and they're always asking for content. So I'm really happy to finally bring Gabby on as a bonus episode to my podcast on relationship series. And I just think there's so much to learn about relationships, whether you're in a committed relationship, whether you're in entanglement, un enredo that we're all in, friendships, situationships, friends with benefits. Like we've all been there, and I think it's so important to talk about it and the nitty gritty, the bringing the uncomfortable conversations up to the surface. And today, so that's the backstory. But today, we just continue to gather all this content because dating life is never boring. There's always a situationship. There's always something that comes to surface. And so today, Gabby, we're going to have a real and raw conversation. I really hope you feel comfortable in expressing whatever you feel like. And disclaimer to any family member or friend that is listening to this recording, ama, perdónanos, somos santitas, las santitas que you raise. But anyways, I just think we feel so comfortable in this navigating this dating life. It is the craziest. I'm still learning. We have so many fun stories to share. And so today, Gabby, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, this is Gabby. I've been dating for the past, I would say 3 years. So I tried all the different apps. So that's why Brenda calls me like the app expert. Like I tried Bumble, Hinge, Match, eHarmony. So she's always asking me questions about the different applications and what's good about it and what's not. So I've been giving tips to her and her followers. And I also been dating a lot. I've been dating for a while, then I get tired or I get into a relationship and then I stop. So I'm good at giving her tips and telling like Brenda and her followers like what things work, why they don't work.
And we tune into our followers when we have a situationship that we don't know the answer to, or we want to get more feedback from the people out there who are also in this relationship journey. And so it's so much fun just to like be out there and ask our followers of like, hey, what do you guys do when you get ghosted? that was one of my questions today on Instagram, and I got so many response of like, what is the reason people ghost you? And that's a whole other episode, and it has to deal with communication. But that would be another relationship series bonus with Gabby, because we are very fond of that. It has happened to us. Mm-hmm. We have done it. And so
And I think we go through stages. I think at the beginning of dating, it's hard to get over when you get ghosted, or it's hard to get over when like people don't give you an explanation why they disappear or why they're not texting you back when you think you have great chemistry.
Yeah,
and you think both of you guys have great chemistry.
That has happened to you.
It's not.
Gabby is speaking from experience. Keep going, girl.
Both sides. Like, I ghosted people when they think they have gay chemistry with me, and I feel like I don't see the chemistry, and I have to tell them, like, oh,
but you don't. You ghost them.
Sometimes I tell them, like, if I really like the person, or they keep texting me and like inviting me out, I feel like I have to tell them the story. So before I get off tangent and go talk about different topics that there is in dating world, I want to tell you guys about this story that recently happened to me. So
tell us the backstory. Okay, let me help you because yes. I know this is a very, very special, fun, real and raw topic that we are just about to share. And so make sure you are not driving, that you know if you're walking your dog out there, make sure you hold on to that leash, or be okay with having laughing out loud or gasping of like unbelievableness. So get ready. Hold on to your panties because we're about to take a ride onto this crazy story. This is all real, guys. This is real and raw, and it sounds like a movie, but it's true. And this is exactly the things that we go through that we want to share. And the lesson for me, this is such a crazy story, but I want to extract the lessons from it. And so, for one, our follower, again, what is our mission? Let's just begin with our
our
mission.
You were talking about it.
I'm such a philosopher and philosophical person. All right, our mission, because we have been doing this for a while now, even before quarantine, of going on this IG lives and sharing our dating stories and our lessons from it. So I always extract the lessons and the positivity from every single dating challenge that we have come and encountered and got into. All right, so our mission is we want to prevent heartbreaks and heartaches if they're preventable. Like, I love love. I love to love, and I'm never going to hold myself back. I'm not about being the resentful bitch that has gotten hurt. Like, we're not about that. We want to encourage love, but we also want to be there to help you navigate through heartbreaks if they happen, but also to prevent them if you can. So we are on a mission to save as many hearts as we can from heartbreaks. And so this is a big lesson. So take it away, Gabby. Tell us about.
And I was going to say, we also want to prevent like people wasting time, because I feel like in the past I wasted months over this relationship that's not working, or about why did somebody ghost you and why somebody disappeared.
Yes.
So we also want to prevent people from that, from wasting their time.
Stop wasting your time. Yes. And with that comes being straight up and honest about what you want, what you deserve, and whatever you're choosing, you are choosing. So we want to give you the courage and empowerment, whether you're men or women out there, to really stand up for what you want and what you deserve, and stop wasting your time and being clear on what you want. So here it is, Gabby. Tell us about this. What would you call it? Entanglement, encounter?
No, it was a very intense relationship and very.
So we're calling it. Yep. So we're calling it a relationship. It lasted for 6 months.
Yeah, I even thought I found the one, and I was very surprised that I thought I found this person in the apps, and everything was great.
Did you find?
He was from Hinge.
Okay.
So we have
be aware of Hinge. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
No, we have great things in common.
I met great guys on Hinge.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So we matched, we dated, like on a Saturday we went on a date. It was great for breakfast. We went on a breakfast date, and then he invited me the next day to go out again. That's when it gets very intense. Like, you constantly dating like 3 times a week.
Do you think that that's a honeymoon stage, or?
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want more of you. And
yes, they want to see you like 2 or 3 times, like so intense that they constantly want to call you.
So that's how it was at the beginning. It was. Did you feel that chemistry and vibe right at the beginning?
Yeah, we had great chemistry. No issues at the beginning. Everything was great. We also took a trip too. That's very important. Like, after 2 months, I decided to go on a trip with this guy. So we went to Cabo. We had a great time.
Was it really easy for you to say yes on taking, I would say, the next step and going on a trip? Because now you have to be with this person for almost 24/7.
Yeah, it was like
and
4
really
days. Yeah.
So he had to be special for you to go on a trip.
He was very special for me. So we had this great connection, and then as you started to get to know this person, like we started talking about the future, like
futuristic talk.
Yes, that's what we were
Futuristic
doing.
talk.
We were like, oh, you know, if we ever move in, like how are we gonna move in, and like who's
When
gonna
was
live
this
where?
talk? How into the relationship?
Probably like
was this?
3 months
3
later,
months?
we started talking about things like that, and like how
You guys take notes.
yeah, we were like even talking about splitting the bills, like who's gonna pay
Oh.
what. If he's moving to my place, I'm moving to his place.
When was the first issue that arose? Like, what was the red flag?
I think for me was that he's Hispanic as me, but he has very
Machista
qualities.
So, how do you translate that? I don't know. I mean, people know, like,
he's
that
a macho man.
machista
He expects girls to cook for him, so he expected me to cook for him. Like,
I'm sure all the girls out
breakfast.
there are like, no, girl, bye.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
And like, he was very even when it comes to splitting the bill and things like that, but he always wanted me to cook, and he will talk to me like, oh, are you going to iron my clothes? Are you going to make me dinner when you come back home? So for me, it was
are you going to build a house for me?
Yes. So for me, that was kind of red flags. We were like, I was thinking like, oh, maybe things won't work out. Maybe things are not that great.
And I think, just to set that aside, I think that's totally fine. And I think one of the hardest jobs out there are stay-at-home moms that do so much. And I think those are the best entrepreneurs because they get to manage the household, the finances, organizational, the day-to-day, handle little humans if they have. Like, I love stay-at-home moms, and I think they don't get enough credit for that. But in the situation where a man is so one-sided and closed-minded and says, this is your role, as soon as they put a title in a role of saying this is what you're going to do because it's a cultural thing or whatever it is, that's when I think you need to stand up for what you want. Or I think there needs to be a compromise, like compromising on like, oh, well, of course I would iron your clothes and cook for you. And there is that division of like, you're going to provide, you're going to take care of the finances or whatever it is, and I'm going to take care of the household. I think that's 100% fine because you need that balance. You're a team. But when it's a black and white situation and he's saying that's how it's going to be.
It was at the beginning, and then we talked about it, and he said, like, I told him, no, I'm going to be working, I'm going to help you out with the bills, then it has to be even. And then he agreed. He's like, okay, I can see your point. I can help you out. You don't have to cook all the time. So we agree on that issue. I think there's issues that kept coming up, but we're good about compromising and talking about it. So then we talked, like, I think 4 months into it, we talked about the other issue, which was about having kids. And
these are big issues. Yes. So again, like addressing the big issues that you know could be your non-negotiables. And if you really do see potential with this person, like what are those big topics that you know are hard to compromise? So having kids for you is like, is this something that you really want, that you really have to stick up for? And if that's something that he doesn't really want, again, not losing your time.
Yeah, so in that case, when it came to that, we noticed that we're not on the same page. I said, I want to, like, in a couple of years, if I find the right partner, I want to have kids. I want to try to have a family and see how it goes. Like, I'm not going to be like, do everything I can to have kids or all this. But my point was, I would like to try it. I would like to see, like, maybe in a couple of years.
And he was not.
Have a family.
He did not want.
No, he already had a daughter. Like, he dated someone for a couple of months. He had an accident and then tried to make it work for a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years. It didn't work out. So all his life he's been doing like split custody. Like, he takes care of the daughter for like every other weekend and all that. So he didn't want to deal with that. So he told me straight up, Gabby, I do not want any kids. If you want to stay with me, you have to be 100% sure that you don't want kids. We can just travel. We can,
I like
do
that,
everything else, but no kids.
At this time, at whatever age you're at, I think it's really important that you don't change your views, especially if they're really ingrained in who you are. And if you're the person that doesn't want kids, I think you should stick to that and not like cave in to somebody that you love for that reason. Because it could make you miserable. But also, if you do cave in for that person because you love them, like, truly accepting that you're caving in and you're doing it for them, but never in your mind bringing it up or never like throwing it at them, where whether it's like, this is not what I wanted, this is what you wanted, like it's all you. Like if you're going to accept something that you're not okay with for your partner, then you have to be truly for it and supportive afterwards.
So for me, when he told me that, I said I need some time to think about it, and then we dated, and I saw how it was like spending a few days with him.
When did you guys become exclusive? When was the title brought in of like boyfriend
I think
and
with him it was like we decided to be exclusive like after 2 months, like before we took the trip. Yeah, we were like, this is great, like we liked each other, let's just not date somebody else, let's just talk about us and see how the future is gonna go. And yeah, I was thinking, I was gonna be with this guy for a while, and I thought like maybe in a year I can move in with him and like just keep going forward. And we were planning on this. After our first trip, we were already planning our second trip. Like we were like thinking about like getting to know each other and like traveling and all that. So I spent a couple of days with him where he cooked, and then we were just watching TV. But then I thought, that's not what I want. I feel like I need it in the future. I'm gonna need a kid or somebody to be the light of the house, or like try to make.
You wanted more. So
I wanted
you were
more.
able to see like if this is how it is now, am I okay with it being how it is now?
Exactly.
For the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah, it's going to be for the next like 40 years if you don't have kids. And I say like, no, I feel like I'm going to get bored. I feel like I'm going to need something else. I'm going to need like a purpose. I'm going to need something else. I feel like one time I spent the whole weekend with him.
Conversation with yourself.
Yeah, and for me it was like I spent the whole weekend with him, and I did that like twice in a row. And then I saw how it was like, we cook, we clean, and then we go and watch TV. And I feel like something was missing, and that made me think like I really need to try with somebody else, and somebody that wanted to have kids. So we talked about it, and I told him like, really, I'm not 100% sure that I don't want kids. I think we should just take a break and see.
Who said let's take a break?
We talked about it, and I told him like, I think we should take a break because I need to think about this. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna just. We didn't say like I'm gonna keep dating, but I think that was understood. The time we say that we're gonna take a break, I was understood that I was going to keep dating and he was going to keep dating.
Okay.
And then he said, okay, I really want to work things out with you, but if we're not sure, call me back when you're 100% sure that you don't want kids.
And this was like, after how many months of dating?
This was like 6 months after.
Okay, so 6 months after, you're like, let's take a break. Let's go regroup. Let's make sure this is what I want. And
so we're very clear that we're ending that relationship, that I needed time to think about it, whether I wanted kids or not.
Were you guys still communicating during that break?
I think at the beginning it was hard. Like he come and visit me.
Were your genitals communicating?
We were for a couple of months because I was not dating. But then once I started going back to the apps and seeing other people, then I told him, no, if we want to take a break, it has to be like a good break. And then we would just text once in a while. He would tell me how I'm doing and stuff like that. We always kept that communication, but it was more like a friendship. It was never like commenting in one of my pictures or his pictures, but it was never about anything sexual or anything about going on a date or anything like that. So for the past month, he's been texting me that.
Wait, okay, so it was 6 months. How long was? And the break was the break was
at the beginning of quarantine, like at the beginning of the year.
It was a real quarantine break. It's like,
yes.
Okay.
I know. And that's what I regretted. I was like, oh my God, we could have been working together and getting to know each other better. But I feel like we needed that time to think about what we really wanted in the future.
So you guys were together for 6 months, took that break. That break was during quarantine. And then what happened?
So he's been texting me that he wanted to talk to me and he wanted to talk to me in person.
When was this?
This was maybe last month.
Last month. He was like, I have something to tell you.
Yes.
You're like, wow, he finally came to his senses. He wants to have a family with me.
So actually he talked to me one time, like over the phone, and he was telling me like, remember when we talked about kids and all of that? And he said, I thought about it, and then I'm willing to make that sacrifice. That's what he said. It's a sacrifice.
Oh.
I'm willing to give you, if you want a kid, I'm willing to give you one. But in my mind was like, okay, I don't want to have a kid and be pregnant, and I want to tell my partner, oh look, I'm pregnant. I
Like,
don't
be
want
happy.
that person.
Yeah, you want to share that happiness.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Like, I think if he didn't want kids and he's accepting it, I think you fully accept the whole journey, and you become excited. And you're like, I'm doing this for this person that I love, and now we're building another chapter of our lives together. And like, if you're going to accept something that you didn't accept before, like, go fully in and truly be invested emotionally and everything. So so that's already like a negative connotation where he's like, I'm going to sacrifice whatever he's sacrificing for.
So I would say like 3 months ago we had that conversation when he said,
Did you get excited?
I changed my mind. If you want a kid, I'm willing to do that and all this. And
he probably just missed the sex. Let's be honest.
I know. But I thought about it. I was like, no. If your dream is to travel and all that, and you haven't had that, then I think you should go after your dream. And I already traveled and I already did like all the things I wanted.
So let's address this. So how long was he single for when you met, or how long was he in the dating scene?
Maybe for a couple of years.
And so
maybe 1 year, yeah.
Okay, 1 year. He addressed it to you that he needed to get the traveling, the dating out of his system. Like, he was really craving that, right?
Yeah, I guess in his last relationship, like, he was living with someone that he couldn't go out with his friends, he couldn't do all these things, and now he was single for a year, and he liked it, going to see the football games and having drinking and going out. So he was willing to do that, and he wanted to keep doing that.
Okay.
So I understood, like, when he was with me, he was good most of the time. Like, he didn't go out that much, and he would let me know where he was and come back home at
but he was still expressing his boyishism. I just coined that term of like wanting to go out, explore, have fun, be out with his friends, which I think you can still do in a very respectful way with your partner. I think that's totally fine. I think that's necessary, but that's a whole other topic. But he was still doing that. He was still partying, like wanting to get that out of his system. And then a couple months ago, he called you, talked to you.
Yeah, and I was understanding about that. That was never an issue, because I was like, okay, you go out, I go out, we meet afterwards. Yeah. Like, we never had an issue about the going out.
And Gabby, let me just tell you, like, Gabby is such a free-spirited, like, she loves to go out, she loves to travel, she loves to go out and be with friends and going out to bars, and like, it's not like she's this nun in the house and esta santita.
No, I do go out. And like, I don't post it all the time, but I know.
But I think you're such a great girl to have fun with, and I think that shouldn't be a problem. And I think you can do it as a couple. I think people should be grateful to have you as a partner.
We only got to go out as a couple of times. Like, most of the time, he just was there with his friends.
Because then he was probably doing something else that you wouldn't approve of.
I don't know about that, but I trusted him. I trusted him a lot. So after, like, I would say 3 months ago, he called me. He said he changed his mind. He's willing to try. And then I told him, no, I need more time to think about it, because I don't want it to give you the news that I'm pregnant and then you're not going to be happy about it. And I don't want it to, like, I have complications or something, and then I feel like he might say, like, oh, but you wanted to be pregnant. Yeah. Or if we have a kid, just saying that he wakes up in the middle of the night, I don't want him to say, like, well, it's your baby, it's your responsibility. So I didn't want that. I wasn't sure.
And that's what you felt when he said, I'm willing to take the sacrifice and have a child with you. Okay.
So I was talking to him about it, and then he said, no, that's not how it's going to be. And then I think we just left it. I said, like, I don't know, I'll think about it. I don't know, like, I'm not sure if you're gonna be like the dad that I want you to be. I don't know if you're gonna be there for me.
That's a huge step.
But I think in the back of his mind, he was like, well, what about in 2 years we cannot have kids, so maybe it won't even happen, and we can just get to travel.
So he was still like lingering on the hope that it wouldn't happen.
Because I told him, like, if it doesn't happen, then it's fine. Like, it doesn't happen. We just don't have kids. So I was like, I really wanted to get to know you. I want to be like your partner for a couple of years, and then later we can try. And if it doesn't happen, it's fine.
The traveling side of you, because Gabby is such a travel fanatic, and I think he really enjoyed that part of you, but didn't want to, almost like he didn't want to get rid of that. Which,
no, he's ready to travel. Like, he hasn't done that. Like he has never been to Italy or anything. Yeah. So
what
making the
happened?
story short.
Very long story short.
Making it shorter. So he wanted to talk to me, and I didn't have time. So finally, we met a couple of days ago. And he's telling me, like, we're talking about dating. I'm telling him, like, what I do with Brenda.
So this was like a catch up, like let's catch up in person. But he was really wanting to like catch up in person, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
And for me, I was like, oh, maybe he wants to talk about this again. But I feel like I was done. Like, I need to move on. Even though I liked him a lot, I have to move on with somebody that really wants kids, like 100%, not making a sacrifice.
But let's just give the audience your emotional state. Like, you really liked this guy. You wanted to work out with him. He was the guy that you would think about when you were drunk. Like, I
think about him all the time.
You were so stuck on him. So were you really ready to move on, or were you like hopeful that this time that you guys talked in person, he was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's get back on this.
I was thinking he wanted to get back, because why would you want to talk in person?
In person, yeah.
Yes. And then I think I was even willing for me not to have kids, because I like this guy so much. Wow. And I thought maybe we could just travel. Maybe we could just have this great time. And I was willing to give that up. But then I say, what about in 4 or 5 years I changed my mind?
How did that feel for you to like know that you were willing to give up something that you wanted so much, at least having the option to, for somebody that you really liked? I think a lot of women and men get this mistaken, where we don't hold on to the parts of us that ignite us, that give us that fire, because that's who we are. That's what our soul desires to want. And I think we need to always hold on to that part of us, and that it's okay to blend the two. It's okay to be with somebody that you love, but still, I think the biggest priority is yourself. I think the biggest priority should always be what you want, what you deserve, and holding on to those parts of you, and not settling for less, or not changing your mind for somebody that you love.
And I'm usually really good at it, not changing my mind. But with this guy, like, the attraction, the chemistry, everything was so great. Like, I don't know, everything was amazing. And then I was willing to do that.
You should want you more than you want the other person, because guess who is there for you forever?
I know.
It's yourself.
And I thought I learned that over all these years. When you met this person and you have this connection since the first date.
I understand.
And I forgot about everything I learned for the past like 5 or 6 years.
Love is so blind.
Yes. I was like, I feel like I'm in love with myself, and I'm my first priority. Wow. And I feel like I will never change anything for a guy. And then I had all these things that I thought I was, I was very experienced.
Don't tell me that, Gabby, because right now I'm just like regaining myself back, and I don't ever want to lose myself again in another relationship. Yeah. But I digress. Gabby, tell me, just walk me through that story of how he met you in person and how he broke the news. Like, this is news alert. This is exactly what he wanted to talk to her in person about. Okay. Tell me.
So we were talking about it, and I was like, okay, what is this thing? I'm like all excited. What is this thing that you wanted to talk to me about? Like, just tell me, like, why is it taking you forever? And then he's like, okay, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to tell you this and all that.
And you were trying to be like compassionate and like hugging him. And
I thought like he got a DUI or somebody's really sick, or what did he do? And I'm trying to give him a hug. I was like, are you okay? Because you can see his expression, like his facial expression. He was like sad and confused and all this. And I'm trying to give him a hug, like, hey, like, what's going on? Just tell me, like, it'll be okay. And he's like, Gabby, you probably want to stay over there away from me. Like, stay over there across from me.
Please stay away from me, because what I'm about to tell you, you might slap the shit out of me.
No, you just say, like, stay over there. Like, don't come close. Let me tell you.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, okay, what's going on? And then he's like, I met this girl 2 months ago. Everything, like, we had chemistry, everything's going great, and I just found out that she's pregnant.
Oh my God.
Well, I guess it was like 3 months ago, because she's pregnant. She's 2 months pregnant. Yes. So I was just like, I didn't know what to say.
What was your
I was very
expression?
disappointed.
Like, what did you feel? Did your heart just drop to your stomach? And you're like, it's just, okay, let me just say, it is just such a, how do you say it? Like oxymoron to, this guy did not want kids. This guy didn't want it to be a little sucio and be out there and be like, fucking around or like exploring himself, and that's totally fine, but like the thing he didn't want with the person that's the most worthy of having, like, it happened by accident.
Yes, and it happened by accident. So he said like this girl is like, I think a month and a half or 2 months pregnant. Like after a month, he didn't even know this girl that much. So he's saying like,
how did they meet?
Through an app. Yeah, they met through an app, and then they just dated. And I feel like maybe he had the same chemistry that we did.
I think this
and then she got pregnant by accident.
Quarantine season.
Oh yes, like it's hard to date. I guess.
God. Guys and girls, be careful out there. Please wrap it up. This quarantine season, COVID's coming for you too. You might get someone pregnant that you not you do not want to have that situation if you're not planning for it. So just be careful out there.
He was just very disappointed that he made this mistake like 17 years ago, and now he's doing it again. He got someone pregnant 17 years ago, like I was saying at the beginning. He's been through this. He's been through this split custody, and that's what he said. I want to make sure I have a baby with the right person. I want to get to know her, travel, and then have babies. That's what he wanted to do.
Which he could have done with you.
Yes. And he said, I was willing to do it, Gabby. You just didn't want to. This was an accident. I'm going to try to make it work. I'm like so confused. And I was just, like initially Gabby, I was like, why you didn't use a condom? How did it happen? Like Gabby, I was asking all these questions
about what you were going through, like what was going through your head, and how this guy decides to have the balls to like, which I think is very courageous on his part, and to really like see you as somebody he cares and like not tell you over text or just ghost you, right? He could have just ghosted you, like, sorry, bye. Like the embarrassment behind it, I do give him props for him to like coming up, letting you know in person, and like really confiding in you. But at the end of the day, it's just like the thing that he was avoiding and running away from
for many years. He's been
that is exactly what happened. And twice, like, I feel for this guy, but it's also like, how do we make sure we don't make the same mistake twice? And then, okay, continue.
I think that's what hurt him the most. Like he's saying, like, I made that mistake on my 20s, and now I'm making it again when I'm 36, 37. Like, how can that happen?
Especially like when he was avoiding it with somebody that was so qualified.
People, like he was avoiding it with all these people. So first I was like, I was like, are you serious? Like I couldn't even believe it. It's like out of the telenovela. Like he's telling me like, yeah, she's pregnant and she's moving into my house already. And then like she already moved in.
Oh my God.
Like and she has a kid, and like the kid moving.
Oh, she has a kid already.
Yes, and now they're like, he's building all these family. It's like a family. He's like, it's just hard to get used to it, and like I have a family all of a sudden. And I guess I'm not going to be traveling anymore. And yes, like things happen. And I was just like,
the universe opened up and came throttling down. And here is the lesson for you, baby girl. Like, what do you, okay, like, I'm just so dumbfounded and like be wild of this situation. Yeah,
how can you make, like, for me, like I was trying not to be like very critical, not to say really bad things, but I was just like, how come you didn't use a condom? Like, how come? I was just questioning him, like, we always were really careful, we always use protection, like why would you go and do it? But not with that tone. I was just trying to be very understanding, because I could see that he was really hurting. He was really confused. Yeah. And he was just disappointed. He said, like, I'm disappointed at myself. You made a mistake for like a second or minutes when you're in the moment. You made a mistake. And then now you have all this responsibility. And I think it's something that everybody should learn. You don't want to have a baby from a one-night stand, or a baby from someone who's getting to know you.
My rule was, I'm not going to have sex or unprotected sex with anybody that I don't see them as a father figure or as a supportive or like father material for my baby if that was to happen. Like, I took it so seriously. That's why I was so exclusive and selective on who I allowed into my body. Like my body, it's a temple, and even down to like the energy when you're connecting with that individual. And I can get all spiritual, like that connection is so much more intimate than anything else. But for me, my rule is like, I'm not gonna have sex with anybody that I don't see being a father figure, because it can happen whether like, you wear condoms or not. Like, it can happen. And
like,
so
accident happens too. Like, the condom can break, or things happen.
I just want to bring this up because this is like, again, the universe and
what?
Taking responsibility. So he went on to tell you that he's like, I used Plan B, the after pill. Can you tell me
that was another story? Like, I was just trying to understand how that happened, how we were so careful, always using protection, one form or another. How did he just go and get this girl pregnant? And this is kind of a funny story.
It's really funny. It's very funny.
They had their little accident. Let's say they have it on Friday, and then they go and get the Plan B right away. So, but it seems like the girl didn't take it. So they decided to have unprotected sex the rest of the week because you're covered for 72 hours. They kind of misunderstood.
That is a huge misunderstanding.
I feel like they felt like they had insurance, and then I might as well like go crash and do all these. Yeah, so it seems like they were having unprotected sex the rest of the weekend.
So he was told you this?
Blaming it on Plan B because I didn't understand, like, why you don't want kids, why you didn't go and get Plan B. And then he said, like, well, we did, but since it was 72 hours, we thought like we were protected and we had sex like for the next 2-3 days.
Oh my god. Okay, wait, I need to like rephrase this.
We need to go research how this actually works, because I think many people might be confused and then they blame Plan B, but that's not. It's like you're not using it correctly. Or you don't think like you take it and you can have sex for 72 hours and protect it. Like,
this is not like
go put in more
guard. This is not a guard to like all the sperm in the next 72 hours. Yeah, I read it. I've taken it. So you read it and it's like, okay, it says, please, I'll have to do research behind this and please don't quote me. But I do remember it's like for the next 72 hours, like it's more effective at the beginning right away, but it can be effective up to 72 hours. And so their understanding was like, oh, we're protected for the next 72 hours. Let's just go all at it. And like, let me just fire hydrant the shit out of your WAP with all my sperm. Sorry. I mean, this is real and raw. They definitely did the raw.
Yeah, and he got like, he's like, okay, stop asking all these questions. I'm just telling you, Plan B didn't work, and I'm trying to find out why it didn't work, and like doing the math behind it.
Like, so we just went bonkers for 72 hours, and like clearly that didn't work because we're pregnant.
I know, and I was thinking back about it. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, to me, it's like you buy an insurance and you think you can go have like car accident, and now like I have insurance, let me just go and crash into all these cars. Like, that does not make sense to me at all. But
it happened.
I mean, he's like, oh, and then before we left dinner, he's like, any last words you want to tell me, because this might be the last time you see me.
Wow, this is such
intense.
a telenovela.
Oh
my god.
So I just saying, like, sorry if I was being too critical. Sorry if I was like, I told you all these things and trying to find out why. Like, for me, it was just hard to understand how he had this mistake when we were dating for 6 months and that never happened. And then I just told him, like, you have to go and try your best, try to make it work. And I wish you the best. Good luck. Like, you have to be a good dad. If you were not a good dad in the past, you have to try and be like the best father that you can be and make it work.
Yeah.
Because you want to have a family now. Like, now you just have to do that. And then maybe travel later. I don't know. But yeah, so it's over.
You can tag them in your pictures when you travel. Like,
I know, and I'm still confused about it. Like, it still hurts.
Well, you know what's traveling? Them sperms up up the ovaries.
Yeah,
that's what's traveling.
So I was telling Brenda, like, after I got home and I thought about it, like the whole situation, I was really hurt and saying, like, why did this happen?
Tell me the questions that went through your mind.
I don't know. It's like so many questions and so many feelings. Like, he never wanted to have a kid with me. He never wanted to, like, even try it in like 2 years from now. And now he's being so irresponsible and just goes and gets this girl pregnant. Like, that doesn't make sense in my mind. It just didn't make sense. And that was just very hard for me to understand. And in one part, I feel like, oh, that could have been me. And maybe that would be the easy way. Like, I will have my family. But that's like the very bottom, because I know that's not logical, that's not responsible, and I don't want to get pregnant for somebody that doesn't want a kid, or somebody that's just not going to be there for me. Like, it might seem like, okay, he's going to have his family and he's happy ever after, but it might not be that happy. He told me that after living together with her for a couple of weeks, he's noticing that they're not matching. Like, they only met for a month, so he's noticing that there's all these issues. And he's still working through all of that, but he's like, there's no love. Like, we never say the word, I love you. There's no, like, we're finding all these things and we're living together, and now we have a baby. Hard. Like, they have to make it work.
I truly feel for him, but at the end of the day, like, we do make decisions, and yes, there's some things that the universe will bring upon us that are meant to, like, are meant for us to learn this lesson and step up to the plate and, like, really take ownership of it. And it's just, again, an oxymoron for somebody that didn't want kids to have a kid within a month of knowing that person. And I think, I mean, think about being with someone that you haven't even said the word love, that carries so much emotion and heaviness and, like, meaningfulness, and now they're creating this human being. Like, you would truly want, but things happen, and I think I wish them the best, and I truly think people can really learn from what is brought up to them from them, whether it's the universe or, like, their own. I don't like saying mistakes. I just think, quote unquote, but
there's, go ahead.
I mean, it's also learning for you. Like, take this as a, what did you learn from it? Can you just tell us what you have learned from this?
I think right now it's hard for me to know what I have learned, because I have so many mixed feelings and all that. But confusion. I feel
okay, let's just say, like, how long ago was this? Like 2 days? 1 day?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah.
When was
like
it?
2 days. I just still thinking about it.
I'm sorry.
Very confused.
Wait, I want to tell you, like, thanks for coming on here, and whether we air it or not, and for my episodes, I do the least editing. Like, I just want to, again, be real and raw, and, like, I appreciate you being vulnerable and, like, opening up on something. And again, this is for the better of who's out there, and, like, what they can learn, and, like, the things that they can happen to an extreme extent. And so just tell us, like, what you think you have learned, or what was this learning lesson about?
I think I still feel the same way, that I didn't want to have a kid with somebody that didn't want to make that commitment, because for me, I know I will not be happy knowing that he didn't want a kid, knowing that he was not going to be able to wake up with me in the middle of the night and help me through the whole process. So I feel like I made the right decision when it comes to that. Yeah. So I feel good about that. I'm just very confused how you so set in your mind, like, I don't want kids. And then in the heat of the moment, you make this decision that it changed your life forever.
Okay, so,
like, he was not thinking about that. And that happens to everybody. Like, there's some decisions in life that you just make it and you can never go back. And that's what he was telling me too. Like, Gabby, it doesn't matter what you tell me. It doesn't matter if we go back through the plan B situation and all these things that I could have done differently. It's like, I didn't. And now I'm stuck with this situation, and I just have to move forward. And I think that was something too that we have to learn.
Like, I really like the point where you say that you were so right and concerned and acted so securely on not wanting kids with your guys' situation, that he was so set on that. Yes. But yet he goes and turns around and, like, in a matter of a second decides, like, to continue and having unprotected sex, knowing that it could have led to something like this.
But I think even guys that are older, and like a lot of people think it won't happen to me. Like, why are the odds that somebody's gonna get pregnant when all these
That's
there's
the
so
ego
many
speaking.
people
Ego speaking.
trying to have babies and they can. Like, he felt like it's just one time. What are the odds? And then the odds, it's like it happened, and then just he's having a baby.
So what else have you learned from this? Like,
I think that's the most important part. Like, I did what I thought was right for me. I didn't give in, and I didn't say I don't want kids. Even though I really liked him, even though we had so many things in common and we could travel and all that, I didn't gave up. I didn't say like I like you so much and I love this guy, and I didn't say like, okay, let's move forward and let's not have kids.
Yeah. So honoring the parts of you that are truly you, and again, like listening to your gut feeling and like sitting in silent and truly saying like, what do I want for myself? And I'm not willing to sacrifice this for somebody else, even though I love them. Like that hurt and that pain might hurt for that temporary moment, but guess what? You get to be with that feeling forever. Like, what feeling are you willing to be with forever? Because you have yourself forever. That person might come and go, and there's so many uncertainties with people and connections and relationships, but the only true relationships that you have is with yourself. And so I think you need to honor that. I think you need to be set onto what you want and not sacrifice yourself for somebody else. But if you do sacrifice some of those, and I don't like the word sacrifices, if you're willing to compromise, I think compromising with your loved one is so special, and it comes from a place of being open-minded and vulnerable and like, let's work on this together. I think just owning it and like let go all the way in, and no holding back and no resentment. And I don't think he wanted that for himself, and I'm so happy for you to stick to what you wanted. And I think this was a blessing in disguise. I think you might not see it now. I think you need to go through it, grieve it. Like, this might be a like cute little heartbreak in the making, but girl, go have some sex. I'm just kidding. I think this is a blessing for you, where the universe was like, he's not for you. Like, you're suffering too much emotionally. I think this is a lesson for you. Like, always stick to what you want, especially at this age, Gabby. Like, you know what you want. Like, stop sacrificing for other people. Like, you know what you want, and go forward with that and stand your ground.
Yeah, and I know at the bottom I think like, oh, if it was that easy, then I should have kept dating him, and then maybe would have a baby. Like, I will have a little accident, but at the bottom I feel like that's not the right thing to do. Like, I will feel that we were gonna have a lot of issues, and he might have a lot of issues with this partner. Like, I hope he doesn't, but at the bottom I feel like, oh, maybe I should have just kept going with him, and then later on have an accident. But that's not the right thing to do. And then I know
I think a lot of us feel that way. Like, you might want whatever it is. Like, you might want the kid, the family, the picture perfect, the cute little family pictures at the park, like the baby bump. Like, you might want that more than that can overshadow, like, if that person doesn't want it, or if like it's not the right relationship, it's not with the right person. So like, making sure you're able to distinguish your want, and making sure that that doesn't overshadow like who it is with. Like, it could be like, I want this so bad, but am I continuing this because I want this so bad with the wrong person? That could be and
I seen friends doing that they just turn 30 and they just want a kid, and then just find a boyfriend that they don't know, like they have a true connection.
It's like a checklist, like,
and they get pregnant because they want a kid. And then for me, all these years, like, I'm 34, I'm gonna be 35, and I always thought, like, if I have a baby, I want to have it with the right person, with the right partner.
That should be more important.
That's something that will last, and I always follow that rule, and I always stick to that. It's not like I had many opportunities that I could say, oh, no condom, and let's see what happened. But I never took that risk because I want to make sure if I do it with the right person. Like you say, someone that's going to be a good dad, or somebody.
Well, at least like open-minded, and like no one's ever ready for something like that. But at least like for me, if that was to happen, quote unquote accident, because I don't like saying accidents, but I want to make sure that it's with someone that's open-minded, that if like he didn't prepare for it, I didn't want it, but I know that we have such strong solidified foundations that we're able to work through any challenge together. Like that's the type of person I want to have a kid or like develop a friendship or a relationship with. Somebody that's open-minded, that's sweet, that's empathetic, that takes any challenge with like, okay, babe, we're in this together, let's figure it out, rather than like, oh, you're on your own, like plan B didn't work, sorry, you're on your own. Like at least make it work.
Yeah, I think if you take that chance, if you're willing to take that risk, like, oh, you don't have condoms, and then you have to make sure you're doing it with the right person, like taking that risk with the right person, somebody's gonna back you up and be there for you, and you already have that connection and you know it's gonna work. So I never want to take that risk before, so I feel like why do it now? And especially with him, that we only been dating for 6 months, so I never wanted to take that, and then I have to like think about it like, I didn't do that for the right reasons. I cannot think about it like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that differently, because it's just the past, and I just have to move forward.
Get the shouldn't out of your vocabulary.
I know,
like shouldn't,
but it's just hard.
Like, no.
It's been hard. Yeah.
What other questions do you have that you have to address and like move forward with from this? Like it might take a while, but like how do you move forward from this? Like, because I know you have so many questions and you're questioning everything. It's like why, or like you're so confused and you want closure.
I'm
like
very confused. Well, I got my closure. I feel like I got my closure. It's not like I saw him on Facebook with his family or
That's
something.
That's true.
And then with a kid, because that happened before. Like I had boyfriends in the past that were not ready for a kid, and all of a sudden they are with like 2 kids.
They're not ready with you.
Yes,
sometimes they're not ready with you.
That's something that I have learned too.
That's a huge learning. Like honestly, me and Gabby have gone through this, and I even have gone through it. Like let me be honest. Like, and this is the thing. People, and I have done it, and I've been in this situation, and I've seen Gabby go through it, and so many people. Like when you get so confused on seeing somebody on social media or whatever it is, like, oh my God, I thought they didn't want this. They always blamed or talked or complained about that, or like they weren't into that, and out of nowhere, they happen to do those things that you thought they would never do. Especially like, let's just say, oh, I don't want to be in a committed relationship. I just want to go and like play around, fuck around, like whatever, travel, whatever it is. And then they end up like being in a relationship, engaged. Yeah, you have that like someone's engaged. And for me, it's like, what? Someone's in a relationship like with this type of person that they would have never, that's not their quote unquote type. Like the reality of it is like, they didn't want that with you. They just didn't have the courage to say, hey, I don't want a relationship with you, or I don't want that with you.
That's another topic, like a big topic that me, Brenda, and I talk about all the time, that sometimes you think like I had guys in the past that they say, oh, I don't want to travel, I don't want to do this and that, and next thing you know, they're like traveling all over the world, and then we learn that it means they just don't want it with you. Like you're dating somebody for 5 years, and they say they don't want to get engaged, they don't want to get committed, and next thing you know, like a year later, they're engaged with somebody else. So it's the hard reality.
That is really hard.
Yes. In my case right now, I feel like it was really an accident. He didn't really want kids, but he was just not careful. And I feel like he made a decision on those minutes that he just has to deal with it. Like maybe
did he really last 2 minutes though? Like it was like millisecond.
I don't know how long that lasted.
I'm just kidding.
But when you make the decision, like you don't want condoms, and that just takes a second to decide. Like let's go forward.
That couple of minutes decision will determine the rest of your life.
For him, it will.
Some decisions like that is like, okay, boo, like take a little extra minute to really think about it, knowing the consequences could be a repercussion of a lifetime. So,
yeah, for him, it will be 18 more years. Like he, I think his girl already has like 17 years. So she's ready to move out of the house and go to college and all this. And he's looking forward to that. And that's why he didn't want to have kids. That was one of his reasons. And now he's starting over. And then he was going back. He was telling me like, what about if things don't work out? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And for me, it was like, well, he's not going to want another kid now. Like, dude.
Oh my God, that was the universe telling you, like, he does not want kids, Gabby. Like, the universe is saying, like, here's your lesson for not wanting kids, for not wanting, but, like, not wanting it with somebody else that actually wanted it. Now you get to have it with with somebody or in a situation that you didn't want it, but this is your blessing, and this is your answer from the universe, making things happen in the way they did for you to say, okay, Gabby, ding ding ding, here's your answer, stop looking for it. He doesn't want kids, so like move forward from it. So again, like not wasting your time on knowing, like stop trying to dig for the answer. The answer is there. Don't try to like find your plan B, C, D, E, F. Like maybe he does want it. Maybe like no, like the answer is there. Everybody on both parties, just be true and honest on what you want. Communicate it. Be upfront, even though it hurts. Like honestly, it's going to hurt even more because he was going around it in circles, and yet again now you guys are having this very heartfelt moment and conversation where it's so painful. Like I couldn't imagine painful. It's so painful, and you both are like crying and talking about it, but that could all have been avoided both on like emotional level and communication level from your sake of like, this is a great girl, like I'm just gonna be a friend of like, hey, I don't want kids, I'm gonna go fuck around, I don't want to waste your time, like this is where I'm at, like just being open and honest.
And he was honest, and he told me the truth, and I told him how I felt, and I didn't want to take the risk, and I just wanted to keep going forward with like, okay, I want a partner who wants kids eventually. So yeah, I decided to move forward. So yeah, that part doesn't hurt. I think it doesn't hurt that much that
what's the most painful truth?
It's just like he didn't want kids, and we tried so hard not to have it, and then now he just goes and has a kid with somebody else that he's just met. I think that's just hard for me.
Hard to grasp.
Yes, because I think emotionally I have continued to move forward. I think I moved forward from like thinking that me and him were gonna be together. Like I was like, oh, no, I want kids. We can just be friends, or like not having like an emotional relationship, even though it was good. I was getting into that mindset that I need to move forward, and then I'm not going to go back with him. And yeah, so I was pretty much moving forward and not thinking about
the possibility. The universe answer your
question sooner than I thought, because now there's no
possibility. Yeah, like that's it, girl.
It's over. Yeah, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, because you guys were kind of like lingering on for the next.
I think for a couple of months we did that we said, no, let's meet up for lunch, and we end up like spending the whole day together. Like that happens with a lot of people.
Yeah, of course. Like you're comfortable with each other. You like that feeling. You miss it. But the universe will give you your answers. So please learn from this. And I wish the other party the best in this new upcoming venture for him. And
yeah, and I'll post pictures of my travels. All the places.
Savage. You're such a savage.
I'll make sure he sees that. We could have been here and here. Like I want to go to Greece and Thailand and Africa, and I'm gonna tap.
Was that your guys' futuristic talk? Where were you guys gonna go next?
Yeah, he wanted to go to Italy. So I've already been to Italy, but I'll go back just to post some pictures.
Savage. You should create a folder and like here, just in case, like everything you're missing out. In case like you don't travel, here's all my traveling adventures, traveling without you. Anyways.
So I'll give you guys an update how everything goes. But yes, I'm moving forward, and this was just a hard lesson for me.
It was.
That I have to learn, and I have to learn like to move forward and not be stuck. Like I don't want to be stuck a couple of months thinking like, oh, what could have been, and how could that be prevented, and I should have done this differently. I have to move forward with my decisions as well. Like he made that decision, now he has to deal with that, and I made the decision that no, I want kids, I want to move forward, so I have to deal with that. Honor that.
And like every person that comes into our life, I truly believe that they come to teach us a lesson, and mostly about ourselves. So and about that person. So like I want you to take note of what this person brought into your life that were positive, like, or the things that you wish you could have done. So now like you got to know, like, I truly want to listen to my gut feeling and honor my non-negotiables, and like now I know that I truly want kids, and I don't want to teeter totter on like, do I want it or not, like
that's what I was doing that for a while. Yes.
Yeah, so like take all the lessons about yourself, like what did he teach me? I get to see like, oh, he was amazing, he was great, and move on from it. Know that there's someone that came into your life that taught you that, like, oh, I love doing this, or like, we got to explore this. Like, let me take that positive from it, from this relationship, and move forward and know that that's out there, the great things about this person, but also like everything I learned about myself in this relationship, for whether it was a month or 5 years, whatever it is, like, take all that positivity from each relationship.
Yeah, and I feel like I did learn a lot of things from him. Like, we had a lot of like good communication and good feedback, and he did give me a lot of good feedback. So I'm gonna take that, move forward, and use that in my next relationship.
Awesome. So that is it, guys. I hope you got a good laugh, a good grasp, and hopefully we brought in some lessons from relationships. You know, relationships are hard, and mostly it's about
Complicated.
like, they're so complicated, and it's not about, it's about communication and really standing in your power of like what you want, what you deserve, like, and it's very uncomfortable. It's getting uncomfortable and like managing these relationships. I mean, think about it. Two different humans coming together and trying to figure how to puzzle each other in a non-physical way. Like, that is clearly the physical way is the easiest, but like, as soon as you become intimate, like, think about, can you become more intimate in the places that actually do matter? And that, I feel like a lot of us are physically entangled or intimate with people where we don't take the time to be intimate with our feelings, or open up, or be vulnerable, and like speak up, or like some situations could be resolved so easily and in a short amount of time if we just speak up. And if we just ask the simple questions, even though our ego could hurt, even though it can be really painful to ask those questions, but you rather know early on than like invest more time and emotional investment into this relationship. So I empower all of you guys out there listening. Make sure you know what entanglements you're in. Make it clear. And it's fine if this is just a fun time. Let it be a fun time. If you want something more out of it, like, let's explore that. Like, just be honest up front with what you're dealing with. Like, your energy and time is so precious, and your mental energy of like how much time you spend on that. And I think everything, it's relatable, and it leads into how you perform at work and how you create. Are you coming from a loving space, or are you coming from an anxiety or like negative space because you're into this emotional entanglement? Like, just make it clear. Any last words, Gabby?
No, I think like we have our own stories that we need to keep up and give you guys. Go to your Instagram for more stories. Like, I think you have some.
Yeah, I do. So me and Gabby have posted some IGTV stories that we have created, and it's so much fun. And go check them out. What's your Instagram? How can people reach out to you and share their condolences? Or just follow you, because on your amazing Instagram, she loves to travel. So
I post mostly traveling pictures. Brenda's the one that has all my stories, but maybe I should start posting them on my Instagram so people get to know more, like how all this dating world and how I'm struggling.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is Gabby, Gavvy Mendez 09.
Awesome. So you'll get to follow her on there, and then see our relationship stories that we have on my Instagram, Ruby Ecom. And hopefully we have more bonus episodes about relationships, either on our Instagram or on here. If they're really juicy, we will have them on here. If not, follow us on Instagram. We do a lot of live, and we bring on guests, and we just have fun with it. So stay in touch. Go have your entanglements during this quarantine.
And give us some feedback.
Give us some content to talk about. But anyways, just keep your hearts warm and giving, and whatever happens, feel the pain, grieve it, but always stay your true self.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Until the next one.